Titans on the beat.
What's good, everyone? It's your boy Natsu with another video for the channel. Welcome back to DMV Sports Zone. And of course, we're coming off the heels of a 20-15 loss to the Seattle Seahawks. And before getting to all the bad, all the negatives in this game, I want to first put the good vibes out there. Our team, I'm proud of our team, right? Like, you know, we didn't get the win outright towards the end of the game, but I'm proud of how we fought back. We were down 20-3 early on. Dwayne Haskins gets him a little bit later in this video, but he threw 2 picks early, and that really put us down, and we ultimately gave up a bunch of yards on the ground. But despite that, in the fourth quarter, we really showed up, scored 15 points total, and we would have scored more if it wasn't for some mistakes. But we ultimately found ourselves in a really tight game towards the end of the game against one of the best teams in the NFC that just clinched an NFC playoff spot. And you know, they have Russell Wilson, they have all these weapons, but we did a pretty good job of making sure we were in the game in the fourth quarter, and that's really all that matters, right? Making sure you're in a close game and giving the Washington football team an opportunity to sort of capture the win at the end. But ultimately, we didn't do that, right? Now with the notes, the offense. I say this almost every single week. It just looks anemic, right? No matter the quarterback, whether it be Alex Smith, a little bit better with Kyle Allen, in my opinion, but even with Kyle Allen, Dwayne Haskins, it really doesn't matter. Our offense is just anemic. I get it. We didn't have Antonio Gibson. We didn't have Alex Smith. But again, no matter the quarterback, it just seems like we can't produce any sort of production through the air or on the ground, and that's disappointing. We also let Chris Carson get going pretty early in the game, and although that's good for my fantasy team, I guess, even though he didn't have the best of games towards the end of the game, but it's not good, right? Like we gave up a bunch of yards on the ground, and Carlos Hyde even had a long touchdown. I believe it was like a 50-plus yarder that was just inexplicable by the defense. I believe it was Jeremy Reeves who just slipped on the field, on the FedEx Field turf, and our defense just gave up a huge hole in that run, and that ultimately put the Seahawks up 20-3 right after the half. And usually we're a really good third quarter team, but we gave up that huge touchdown just to start the third quarter, and that really forced us to fight ourselves back into the game, and ultimately we did, but that was a big letdown there. And our defense overall, though, was a bend-don't-break defense, right? We didn't give up too many yards to DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. That's a key that I mentioned on the past live stream. We gave up less than 80 yards total to both of them combined, which is actually pretty insane. That just really shows that our pass defense, you know, in the last couple of weeks, we've had questions, right? Let's see if we can do really well against one of the better passing offenses in the league. And I think we showed up this week. I really do. I think our pass defense is elite. We have Ronald Darby back there, Kendall Fuller, Cameron Curl, who stepped up big time, and our entire DB group is actually pretty good. And we definitely did a good job of containing the Seahawks' 2 elite weapons in Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. I do want to say, though, early in the game, I know this was all over Twitter, but why were we feeding Terry behind the line of scrimmage on a couple of passes? I think that has less to do with Dwayne Haskins and more to do with Scott Turner, because it was obvious that those plays were designed for Terry to get the ball behind the line of scrimmage. I don't really understand that. We saw it get better towards the end of the game, right, where Terry was actually getting some good snaps in, and Dwayne was finding him the ball, and Terry was getting some first downs and all that. But early in the game, that was pretty questionable play calling, if I might add, and definitely set us back on a couple of plays and a couple of drives where we ultimately were forced to punt it time in and time again, and that was disappointing there. Khaleke Hudson, though, I do want to say this probably won't be mentioned a lot in a lot of the reaction videos, but he actually played pretty well, right? He was forced to man one of these starting linebacker positions, and he played very well there. And also, when it comes to special teams, he's making a couple tackles that probably won't go up in the stats in the box score or anything, but he was definitely playing well there. So Khaleke Hudson definitely looks like a keeper, another late-round gem that hopefully will be here for a long time. We found Cameron Curl as well, so hopefully those two could be on this defense for a long time, and Hudson on special teams as well, because he's been balling out there, right, throughout the year, actually. I know he did have a penalty in this game, but definitely bounced back. I believe that really good tackle on special teams actually right after that penalty. So he definitely bounced back there. The defense as a whole, guys, we gave up 20 points to the Seahawks, right? The high-octane offense that is the Seattle Seahawks. We gave up 20 points, and our defense really was not to blame for this loss, right? I mean, I get it. We gave up that huge run to Carlos Hyde, but after that, how much production the Seahawks have? How many 3-and-outs did the Seahawks have? How little did the Seahawks produce down the field or even the run game after that? Very little, right? So I don't think our defense is to blame at all for this game. And now, with Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins, our boy, right? The hometown kid. So in the beginning, we all saw, didn't play too well. There was a throw, even before his 2 picks, there's a throw to Cam Sims where I just looked at my television screen and was just in awe, but in a bad way, right? In a very bad way. It was a simple out route that Cam Sims ran, and Dwayne Haskins threw it to his legs pretty much, and Cam Sims was wide open, and I could tell that it was a bad throw because right after Cam Sims was furious because he did have some room to sort of gain potentially a first down, but Dwayne Haskins kind of missed on that throw there, and luckily though he still caught it, and we kept the ball rolling a little bit on that drive. But outside of that, good throws by Dwayne Haskins to Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas, man, over 100 yards receiving. And, you know, before getting into Dwayne Haskins' costly picks, Logan Thomas, I know Corey's going to be happy that I'm saying this, but I think I finally realized that Logan Thomas will be a capable tight end 1 for us, at least for next year. I'm at that point now where I've seen enough consistency. That's one thing I've been mentioning in the last 2 live streams. If Logan Thomas could do this week in and week out, then okay, we could crown him as our tight end 1 next year, right? We could potentially draft another tight end, but Logan Thomas has shown enough, in my eyes, at this point, to really be that tight end 1. And I know a lot of Washington football fans are happy about that, right? We actually found someone in free agency that gave us a lot of production and continues to be a very good threat, especially when we have Dwayne Haskins and Alex Smith checking down every single play, it seems like. So very happy that we have him. Very happy that we have J.D. McKissick as well. Our free agency pickups, very much unheralded going into the season, but man, oh man, we did a really good job there. And then Russell Wilson, the Richmond native, his mobility and bullet passes in the red zone really cost us, really allowed him to gain some chunk plays on the ground, then ultimately score a touchdown that we saw, I believe it was before the end of the first half. So that's bad there. But again, Haskins, I believe, earlier in the game really cost us. He did throw that pick early in the game, but I think his most egregious pick was that second pick that we all saw. I believe it was to Reed, the Seattle Seahawks defensive back. And man, you know, if we didn't have those 2 picks, Dwayne Haskins was just able to protect the ball and really do what he did towards the end of the game, we could have won this game. I really think this was a winnable game, actually, against one of the best teams in NFC, but fortunately we didn't do that. Steven Sims, in the second half, was caught a ball, but it was out of bounds. Steven Sims, guys, I know he caught a ball towards the end of the game, but I think I can't believe we thought Steven Sims was going to give us a better year than Cam Sims this year. Cam Sims has been really good this year, especially as an undrafted free agent that we picked up a couple years back. But Steven Sims, though, out of the slot, I think we already knew that we needed to go after a stud wide receiver in free agency, but I think especially now, after what we saw today against, you know, a pretty up-and-coming Seattle Seahawks defense, but at the same time, not the greatest off-pass defenses, we need another receiver. We really do. Carlos Hyde already mentioned that touchdown was very much disappointing, right? Our defense doesn't usually do that, right? Give up 50-plus yard touchdowns on the ground, but we did, and that put us back, right? 20-3 at the start of the third quarter. And again, overall, our defense did an excellent job containing Metcalf and Lockett. Also, I want to get to this because I mentioned this on the live stream and also on the fantasy preview video that you guys should always look out for on the channel. I thought that Terry was going to have a semi-bounce back game, right? Wasn't going to go off by any means, but he did pretty much. He had 7 catches for, I believe, 77 yards, something like that, and he did pretty well, man. Terry McLaurin, if he could just have another reliable threat outside of him, we could be a really good offense. Obviously, we need that quarterback situation resolved as well, but I think in the offseason and in the draft, I think we'll be able to shore up those two positions. I really believe that. And then towards the end of the game, wow, this really turned the momentum around completely, I would say. I know we scored a touchdown before that, and it was 20-9, but the interception, the deflection by Montez Sweat, and then the interception by Deron Payne really gave us the boost that we needed on that defense, and on the team as a whole. I saw Dwayne Haskins really sort of rile the troops up on that offense right after, and it was a great play, and our defense has been bailing us out the last couple of weeks, and ultimately they gave us a chance, right? They really gave us a chance to sort of get back into the swing of things in this game, and it definitely helped. McKissick, once again, really good pickup that we got in the offseason, and with Antonio Gibson going down, McKissick has stepped up over the last couple of weeks. He's been a very good back throughout the season, really. I know even the broadcasters mentioned this in today's game that, he was dancing a little bit too much and wasn't really finding the hole earlier in the game. But towards the end of the game, he really looked like he was being shot out of the cannon and gave us really good runs and allowed us to keep things close with the Seattle Seahawks and ultimately allowed us to have that game-winning drive potential at the end of the game. But Dustin Hopkins, man. Dustin Hopkins missed the extra point, and I know when you look at the final score, 2015, that might not seem like a big deal for those of you who didn't watch too much of the game. But if we made that extra point, right, we wouldn't have had to go for that 2-point conversion towards the end of the game, and it could potentially have been 20-17, and we already saw that we were in field goal range on that last drive. Could have just kicked a field goal to tie the game and go to overtime, but he missed the extra point, and Hopkins has been super inconsistent this year. He's made a couple clutch kicks every now and then, but ultimately misses extra points and isn't super reliable from 45 yards on. So I don't know, man. Dustin Hopkins, the extra point miss was a big deal. I know someone on Twitter, I forgot his name, but someone on Twitter mentioned that this game might come down to a 2-point conversion, and it kind of did. It kind of did. And last but not least, though, on that last drive, I think Dwayne, Isaiah Wright, McKissick, and McLaurin all did really well. Isaiah Wright, actually, even the broadcasters mentioned this, he had a really good cutback that allowed us to generate some yards down the field and really gave us a first down when it didn't really look like that we were going to get that on that particular play. But I think they all did well, man. And again, came down to the last drive. We had a chance of winning the game, but Carlos Dunlap and all the Seahawks pass rushers were just turned up a notch and really forced a lot of pressure on that offensive line. And our offensive line didn't do too bad up until that point. It was actually pretty solid. Didn't give up too many sacks, if any, at that point. But the last drive, I believe we gave up 2 sacks, 2 costly sacks, and ultimately that's what led us to losing the game. I know Dwayne Haskins was not great. You guys, you check my Twitter feed at DMV Sports Zone, you know that I was not really a fan of his performance today, but got to give him credit in that fourth quarter. Really led the team down the field and really gave us a chance at the end of the game to win. And I won't say the loss is entirely on him. I think he's a huge reason why we ended up losing, but I think Dwayne Haskins showed enough in the fourth quarter to allow us to not put all the blame on him. And but yeah, it sucks, right? Could have beat one of the best teams in the NFC in the Seattle Seahawks, a team that if we get lucky enough to make the playoffs, we could potentially face in the first round, but we didn't. It is what it is. A lot of us didn't predict us to win this game. I actually predicted us to lose 20-16, and I mean, kind of right, almost right? 20-15 was the final result. So again, it sucks. It really does, but we got to move on to next week. We're playing the Carolina Panthers, who are skidding right now and very much present a very winnable game next week. And hopefully we can get that dub, and hopefully we can get that dub against the Eagles as well the following week. But this division is still ours for the taking, and if we just keep on winning, if the Giants potentially lose tonight against the Browns, we're still looking good. We're still looking good, and even beyond this season, I think again we're going to be a very good team. I really believe that. I really believe that we have the pieces. Just need to get that quarterback situation resolved, guys. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the DMV Sports Zone channel. We try to post fire content on here as much as possible. Also, make sure to go follow our Twitter page at DMV Sports Zone and our Instagram page, DMV Sports Zone, all lowercase. But thank you guys so much for watching once again. And tough loss, but on to next week, week 16 against the Carolina Panthers. Peace.